Detective, is there a reason why you have yet to arrive at Elliott Memorial? Fear of failure, perhaps? Desire to avoid that nasty, achy feeling in your brain when you actually have to use it?
Doing control. There's a body on a rooftop in Kingston. Doesn't look good. Falcon 4 out.
Should find Penguin. I heard he's recruiting. Get the hell out! Run! Go! Back up, he's gonna get us! No chance! He's on here, Peggy, Peggy, Peggy! Can't wait to see Batman and the Arkham Knight go toe-to-toe.
The killer is mutilating and posing his victims and then putting them on display.
He left opera music playing at the crime scene. He wants them to be found.
It's Batman! Get after him! Go! I've been waiting for a shot at you, Batman! Look out! It's the Bat! Where's Harley, anyway? She just vanished after Arkham City shut down.
Alfred, we can add a third victim to the list.
This is becoming rather ghastly, sir. It brings to mind a spate of murders at the beginning of your career. It was Halloween then, if I'm not mistaken. Turned out to be rather a long one, if I recall.
I'm going to try and identify the body.
An irregularity on the victim's chest. It appears to be a birthmark, quite distinctive. There's a bullet lodged deep in the upper bicep. This type of ammunition is predominantly used with a hunting rifle that hasn't been manufactured in over a decade. The left foot is missing several toes. The site of amputation suggests the removal of non-viable tissue in the treatment of frostbite.
Alfred, I've ID'd the victim as Robert Kincaid.
He was a microbiologist who worked for Stag Enterprises. Many believe the shooting was connected to Kincaid's knowledge of controversial research, although that remains unverified. He took a teaching post in Atlanta, which is where he was reported missing.
That's 3 victims, all of them abducted in various places around the country. Keep looking for a connection, Alfred.
Right you are, sir.
The writing by the bodies suggests the killer has a higher purpose. It's as if these weren't good enough for what he has in mind.
Do you think there are other victims?
Yes, and I don't know what he has planned for them.
Man, this whole city's a mess. We need Joker back. He'd get everybody in line. Let's hit a liquor store next.
I'm heading to Wayne Tower. If we can decrypt the Arkham Knight security protocols, we should be able to track his location.
If he thinks he can hide from you, sir, he's in for something of a surprise.
Nah, I ain't afraid of Scarecrow. If he was really scary, he wouldn't need fear gas, right? At least when Riddler's on the billboard, you can tune it out. All those big words. Scarecrow gives me the creeps. Batman don't stand a chance against all these tanks. You know, Hugo Strange used to lecture us like Scarecrow, but he sent food packages too, you know? So Riddler bagged the cat, did he? Oh, he'll regret pissing her off.
Nice of you to drop in, Mr. Wayne. I suppose you weren't really dressed for the front entrance.
Have you finished the decryption?
Fully decoded. I've downloaded all recent militia radio transmissions and their corresponding coordinates to your machine.
Thanks, Lucius. I can scan the network for the Arkham Knight's voice print and determine the location of his last broadcast.
I know you're listening to these messages. Look, if it's about that article, blame Ryder. I had nothing to do with it, I swear. Call me, okay? I miss you, Brucey.
Brucey?
Bruce, it's Cassie. You do remember me, right? Listen, I had, so much fun the other night. You were nothing like what I read in the papers. Anyway, call me when you get this. I got a couple of cute friends who are dying to meet you.
Wayne, Lex Luthor calling. Apologies for going via your direct line, but I grow tired of these games. LexCorp has made a very generous offer for Wayne Tech's Applied Sciences division, yet your persistent unavailability begins to look less like a busy schedule and more like deliberately antagonistic behavior. Come now, meet with me. I'm sure we can come to an agreement. A man of your refined taste doesn't need an Applied Sciences division after all. He needs another $1 billion.
Bruce, it's Kate. You're coming to Maggie and I's engagement thing next week, aren't you? No one's seen you in months, Bruce. And you taught me the importance of keeping up appearances.
You have two new messages. Bruce, this is your father calling. It's time we had a talk, son. You know, about the dressing up. Next new message. Bruce, this is your mother calling now. I just want to say... Oh, sorry. It's so funny, you know, because they're dead.
Bruce? It's Vicky. Are you there? I know you're listening to these messages. Look, if it's about that article, blame Ryder.
You know, if I'd ever been curious about your identity, I would have torn off that mask years ago. I always figured the truth would be a letdown. But I have to admit, masquerading as Gotham's least interesting socialite is one hell of a cover story. The dead parents are just icing on the cake.
You had to go and spoil the surprise. I was hoping to keep her under wraps until she's ready. Next generation disruptor. She's still a couple of weeks from completion, but I figured you'd appreciate a working prototype. I should have her with you later on this evening.
Thanks, Lucius. I think I might need it.
It took a while to source the improved components. You're lucky I don't charge overtime.
Identity confirmed. Good evening, Mr. Wayne. Upload waveform for analysis.
Now I've waited long enough. Batman dies. Tonight.
Scanning communications for voice print match. Location verified.
Got it. The Knight's transmitting from the Miyagani tunnel network.
Glad to be of assistance, Mr. Wayne. While you're here, we've been working on some further upgrades for your car. Let me know where you'd like us to focus our efforts. Ah, you'll like this. Wrote it myself when I saw what you were up against this evening. The drone virus hijacks the militia tank's weapon systems and causes them to target their allies. An upgrade to your weapons generator will let you overcharge the Batmobile's secondary weapons. You'll be a force to be reckoned with. Ah, you'll like this. Wrote it myself when I saw what you were up against this evening. Ah, you'll like this. Wrote it myself when I saw what you were up against this evening. You'll like. I'll be in touch as soon as it's ready. Now, if there's anything else you need, I'll be here all night. It's not like I could leave this city even if I wanted to. Take care, Mr.